Hi, everybody. I'm Jesslyn Weaver, and I have one of my coaches, Tracy, with me, and we are doing this week's call about activity and exercise. And you're going to hear mostly from Tracy, who is an activity superstar, but I'm going to start us out a little bit today, talking about exercising while you're on program versus exercising when you're not on program. So when you are on the 5N1 program, you've probably heard from your coach the recommendation not to exercise in the very beginning of the program. And that's because you've cut your calories, it's a new way of eating, your body has to get used to that a little bit. So guidelines, if you haven't heard from your coach or you need a refresher, guidelines for the first couple of weeks when you're on the 5N1 program are no strenuous exercise to where you're huffing and puffing and you can't carry on a conversation, like I'm carrying on a conversation. 2, not exercising for longer than an hour, 45 minutes ideally. And 3, not exercising so that you're breaking a really serious sweat. If you keep it within those guidelines, then you will not kick yourself into starvation mode. We want to stay in that nice fat burning mode. So one of the things that we do when we're on 5N1 is we're practicing dedicating the time to exercise. Let's say 30 minutes, right? 30 minutes of ideally 30 minutes of exercise most days of the week. And when you're on the 5N1 program, that can be light exercise, light weightlifting. Let's not take a 2-hour spin class, but let's dedicate about 30 minutes most days of the week to some light, moderate exercise. And Tracy's going to talk a little bit about the different types of exercise. As you progress through 5N1 and you're getting closer to your goal weight, you can kick up the intensity. Plus, you've now set the habit of dedicating at least 30 minutes to exercise. And as you get to your goal weight and you move into maintenance, which is a lot longer than our weight loss phase, then you can kick up the intensity and you can kick up the time. But you're in the habit already of dedicating 30 minutes at least to some regular exercise. I am going to show you, I'm going to introduce you to, and if any time while you're listening to this call, if you've got questions, leave it on the thread, the Facebook thread, and we will be happy to answer your questions, any of the coaches or Tracy or myself. So I am going to kick it over to Tracy, but I'm going to share my screen and show some fancy pictures of her first. And Tracy is a superstar. Tracy lost 100 pounds. And I'm going to share my screen here in just 1 second. And her kids found some great before and after pictures of her recently. And that's not what I wanted to show, that's what I wanted to show. And so this is Tracy, and she can, I think this is after she lost about 25 pounds already. So Tracy was on 5N1, surprise, got pregnant. So had a baby. When the baby was old enough, she got back on program, and I click through a few pictures. This is Tracy right here, superstar doing, I think this was a Tough Mudder race. Or something along those lines. It was an obstacle race that looks scary to me. I'll show you some pictures. Here's another fabulous picture of Tracy, a before and after. And I love this picture. I told her she had no choice. I was going to share several pictures of her. This is the part that freaks me out, of the balance beam over the water. Anyway, I'm going to spotlight Tracy so she can talk a little bit, because now she is a total activity superstar. And so I'm going to send it over to Tracy.
Hi. Well, thank you, Jesslyn, for all those flattering comments. I'm accepting them and saying thank you. I have a couple of things to talk to everyone about today. I'm going to talk to you first about finding the motivation to incorporate activity, how my life changed, how I had activity, and I'm going to use that term loosely, before I started the 5N1, during, and then after the 5N1, and how I do it now on maintenance. I've been on maintenance for just about a year, and I have actually just dropped a little bit below my goal weight, and I float around and do really well there. I'm really happy with what I've learned on program and how it's taken me through into maintenance. I feel very confident going forward. Before I got on program, I've always been athletic. I've always been involved in some way inactivity in my life. I either played sports full-time in high school, I played year-round, I'm a horse trainer, I am a soccer coach, as you saw from that picture, and I never ceased having that amount of activity, even though I got into a different place physically. However, my ability to perform my functions was really impacted. I couldn't ride as well. I couldn't respond if I had a problem. I didn't run with my girls when I coached soccer. Now I'm coaching again this year, and I fully plan to do all the conditioning with them. I plan to be on the ground doing the drills with them. I think that having an adult who's willing to get in the game is going to change how these kids even view the game. I'm really excited. I wouldn't have been able to do that a couple of years ago. I never had to make activity a time. I had excuses, right? We all have our excuses. Before I got on the 5-in-1, I had a lot of little kids. I still have a lot of little kids. However, I've decided that I need to prioritize my health, and that was a dramatic change in my paradigm, how I viewed my life before and after program. Before program, I had a lot of excuses as to why I wasn't going to ever change my weight, and now I cannot make excuses for myself anywhere. I was able to do that. I can certainly do this. There's an analogy that I really love, and some of you may have heard it. If it's about taking the things that really matter in life and then filling in with the things that are kind of fun or not necessary, or that can take up our time that really don't need to take up our time. If you fill a mason jar and you have rocks and you have sand and you put all the sand in and you try to shove all those big rocks in, they're never going to fit. But if you take those big rocks, which are our priorities, the things that you value the most in your life, and you put those into that jar, and then you fill it with the sand, with the things that, aren't necessary but are fun or whatever, that sand will fill in around those rocks, and then your jar will have everything you need. So I had to decide for myself that activity was necessary. One of the biggest benefits has been my mental health. It's a great way to get your thoughts going. For me, it's like a meditative state. I really like that. For me, that has been really important in my life. How I maintain it now that I've reached my goal weight, I use the time I dedicated, which was those 30 minutes. I tried really hard on program to put in at least 20 to 30 minutes. And I have little kids, so that's totally doable for me. Like I said, the excuses are gone. So now I play around. I have the freedom to do that. I run a little bit. I do some high intensity interval training. I ride some horses. I play with my kids in the backyard. We go on a bike ride. All those things count, and it's amazing and it's wonderful. And like I said, I've maintained for a year. So I think it's very doable. Exercise activity used to intimidate me, and I felt like I would never achieve the body I wanted. But now that I realize that eating what is good for me is how I changed my body and got healthy, and now I can be active, it's very empowering and it's very accessible now. I think what I'll do now is go ahead and move to some of the ideas from Habits of Health. There are some things that Dr. Anderson has written in this book. Now, for me, this book was an excellent help. So if you don't have it, get it, find it, beg, borrow, steal, whatever you have to do. It was like my health Bible, and I still refer to it, and I share it with my friends, and it's so great. So I'm going to try to do this right, and I'm going to share my screen with you and try to get to my little, did you lose me or can you see me?
Totally have you.
Right. Okay, thank you. Now you see everything, don't you? There we go. Perfect. This will work. Okay. That's interesting. All right, so we're going to talk about active living, inside and out. You can find this in Dr. Anderson's book, Habits of Health. Chapters 15 and 16 are the ones I focused on. Well, that's interesting. Okay. So like I talked about before, I thought that the only way to change my body was to add movement into my life. What I learned from being on the program was that there's two ways that we can add activity and change into our lives. First is by using our own cells and the natural energy burning effect of food, which is exactly what fat burn is while you're on the 5-in-1.
I bet we can see your thing if I cancel the spotlight video.
Okay.
Should we try that?
Sure.
Hold with us, folks. We're going to Okay, now try again.
Now I see you.
And now share your screen.
Oh, I am sharing it, I thought. Am I not?
Nope.
Well, crud. All right, hold on. Here we go. You can see it now?
Yep, we're good now. Okay. I think it was the spotlight video on my end.
Okay, so here we go. So we're going to talk, this is in chapters 15 and 16 in the Habits of Health book, Active Living Inside and Out. It's the NEAT and the EAT program. I'm going to go through those with you. So there's two ways, like I said, to burn off caloric intake. One is by using your own body cells and fat burning effective food, which is a miracle, I think, that you can burn fat and eat at the same time. That's the 5-in-1 program. When you're in on the 5-in-1 and you stick to it and follow it, you will be in fat burn. It's amazing. Your whole body's shape will change without even having to lift a muscle. Then you can add outside activity by increasing your movement and outside caloric burn. And that is increasing your activity level. It's essential to disease prevention and optimal health. And activity looks different for everyone. So the great thing is that you don't have to do what your neighbor does, because if getting up in the morning and running isn't what you love, then you don't have to do that. There's many, many ways you can achieve optimal health and your activity level. So the first thing that Dr. Anderson kind of talks about here after changing your diet, the NEAT and the EAT. NEAT is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, I believe is how you pronounce that. That's the voluntary and unconscious movements we make as we go about our daily lives. For example, when you stand up, when you sit down, when you walk to and from the car, when you take the stairs, those things that you're doing anyway. EAT is exercise activity thermogenesis. That's planned physical activity. Working out is what we typically refer to that as. So NEAT, it's designed for everyone. You're already doing it. That just takes such a burden off, doesn't it? You just know you're already making a good decision. It's easy, and it's a great way to begin offloading those calories. Dr. A says one way to really monitor it, because it is kind of difficult to monitor it, is to get a heart rate monitor, pedometer. But now we have Fitbits and all sorts of other tools, and they're really accessible. There's one for everybody. I think they're great. They keep us connected. There's community involvement, so it's wonderful. So if you can get one of those, it will probably help you monitor your NEAT activity. So the goal here, your end goal, is to get 200 calories burned a day just through being yourself. And a good thing to remember is don't get discouraged. Don't worry that it's not coming off fast enough or you're not seeing changes. Sometimes changes take place inside and we don't see them. And don't forget those non-scale victories. He also recommends that we get comfortable with NEAT before we move on to EAT. So there's 6 S's of success. Again, these are in the book. So, and you can pause this and you can read them. You know, you have a lot of options here. So stance, sit up straight and use your core. Nothing could be more true. Flex while you sit and take slow, deep breaths. Standing. Stand while you have conversations and while you watch the TV, read, etc. Use every chance you can to get on your feet. Strolling. Walk. Walk while you talk. Walk to your neighbors. Walk to your coworker's office rather than emailing. You get the message here. Stairs. If you have them, use them. Forget the elevator. Forget the escalator. Choose the stairs. And he also makes a good point to take a stairs break instead of a coffee break. Another S, our 5th S, is to turn on the music and dance while you garden, while you work, to do the dishes. Allow your body to move to the music. I know that my kids love having a dance party. Sometimes we just turn on this music as loud as it will go, and we just dance until everyone has all their energy out, and that counts as a NEAT activity. And switch. Do things by hand. Technology has made life really easy. And we, as people who want to be active and maintain health, can do things to combat the tendency to let gadgets do all the work. So you can shovel your snow. You can use a manual can opener. You can rake your leaves. You know, these are all ways. So these are the 6 S's of NEAT success. Now we're going to move on to EAT. Remember, EAT is kind of the next step. This is the first thing that is important. Just like Jesslyn said, you create the habit of spending the time, and then when you're into EAT, you up the intensity level. So first, you've got to choose something you're really going to do. It's going to take time, but the way that it's designed is to get maximum results in the least amount of time possible. It's going to take a little dedication. Remember the jars and the rocks? That's okay. We're going to put our big rocks in first. You'll fit everything in, I promise. It's a long-term strategy, and you want to shoot for moderate intensity. What you do should be sustainable. So don't press yourself too hard and feel defeated. These are the big end goals. 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Start slow and work up. And you need to want to incorporate cardiovascular exercise. There's a ton out there. You can choose any of the ones listed here, or you can think of something new. Cardiovascular exercise is great for our heart, brain, lungs, blood vessels. You name it, it helps it. Then we need to work on our muscles with weight resistance training, not to bulk up. We're not talking about those people that spend hours in the gym. We're talking about creating lean muscle. It adds strength to our bones. It improves our posture, also helping you with your NEAT. Burns more calories than fat, improves your appearance, keeps you going. I mean, there's no end to it. So we want to combine the two into energy expenditure. You're going to keep doing your NEAT. Once you move to EAT, you don't forget your NEAT. You're going to combine the energy expenditure from NEAT with the cardiovascular health exercises and the musculoskeletal health exercises from EAT. And they're even in the book also. He has an exercise plan you can follow if you'd like. So this is going to give us total energy management. You're implementing the habits of healthy eating by doing the energy in part, by using your cells to burn fat. So if you choose to be deliberate in your actions, you can easily burn 200 calories additionally a day by simply doing some NEAT activities. Once you've incorporated NEAT, you can move on to some good eats and with moderate and sustainable cardio and rate resistance training. And this will keep you on that path to optimal health, and it will change everything for you. I can attest to how wonderful it's been to see myself become stronger, and my desire to work out and be physical has increased. And I'm so grateful that I've found this program. I'm going to kick it back to Jesslyn.
All right. Yay, it worked. Thanks, Tracy. She's awesome. Her before and after pictures. And Tracy, what was the name of that race? It wasn't a Tough Mudder. It was an obstacle course.
Yeah, it was Rugged Maniac.
Rugged Maniac? That's even better than Tough Mudder.
It's not quite as intense as the Tough Mudder or the Spartan. It's a good introductory race, and it was really fun. And I felt so empowered that I could do it. I was really happy. I had a smile. My face was more sore than anything else from just smiling the whole time. It was awesome.
When she posted the pictures of those, I about died. Tracy made a really good point that she was intimidated by some of the activity before she got to a healthier weight. And I can attest to that. I lost 85 pounds. I would have never gone out and played with my kids. I watched my kids play. I watched my kids at tennis. I watched my kids do other things. I hadn't picked up a tennis racket or ridden a bike in years. I learned how, when I lost my weight, I learned how to longboard. I have a green glitter longboard. And I never would have done that before because I didn't trust my body. I didn't want to look awkward and silly and large while I was doing things. And once I was at a healthy weight and I had so much more energy, I had more muscle, I was able to trust that I could do those things and not look silly and not fall off all over the place and not injure myself. I wouldn't run out of gas. If the NEAT, Tracy made the perfect point, if that NEAT and EAT was confusing at all, you can back up this recording and look at her PowerPoint. You can go to chapters 15 and 16 in your book and follow along lessons 11 and 12 in your Living a Longer, Healthier Life Companion workbook. And it's, the difference between passive exercise and aggressive exercise. And if you just do both of those throughout your life, you will be healthy. Because again, that maintaining your weight loss is a lot longer period than the 5 and 1 for weight loss. I'm going to close out our call today with just a couple of things. We often think of exercise as just benefiting our muscles or our bodies, but there are some other benefits to exercise as well. I'm going to list them out for you. You will become, according to scientists, 54% happier when you exercise, if you can believe it, which makes sense. It raises the serotonin level in your brain. Did you know that people who exercise regularly between the ages of 25 and 45, they stimulate brain chemicals that help to defend against degenerative brain diseases like Alzheimer's. It improves your memory. It lengthens your attention span. It boosts your ability to make decisions, to multitask, and to plan. It reduces stress, anxiety, and frustration. It has serious heart benefits, reduces the risk of heart disease and stroke incredibly. It improves your digestion and your appetite control. It reduces depression and mood swings. It lowers your high blood pressure. It improves your cholesterol. It improves lung function, and your body's ability to use oxygen. You know that I got winded and I can't do anything. That is the lung function and your body's ability to use oxygen. It reduces your risk of diabetes. In fact, if you currently have, I have some clients who have type 2 diabetes, and if you are a diabetic, exercise is critical to managing your disease for the rest of your life, and you absolutely can with regular exercise and a healthy body weight. It improves your immune system, and it helps you sleep better. And you're going to see a lot about sleep because we just came back from National Convention for Take Shape for Life, and one of our main habits of health that we are hitting this year is sleep and what the lack of sleep does to your body and your weight and your overall health. So exercise more and you get better sleep. Again, if you've got any questions, we loved talking to you today about exercise and activity. If you have any questions, touch base with your coach or leave comments on this thread on Facebook and we'll be happy to answer them. So have a great day, everybody. Go take a walk, get some exercise. See ya.